Hello, my loves, and welcome back to the Purpose Show podcast. Today, I want to get right into it. I want to talk about one of the best pieces of advice I've ever received. And it's one of those things that's like so fucking simple, but literally changed everything for me. And I'm going to share it with you now, too. So, the advice was always take responsibility for your own well-being. And I just kind of want to I'm going to sound super podcasty and say, I just want to unpack this because it is so good and so true. And it's one of those things that just randomly really stuck with me and shifted how I show up in my relationships, how I show up for myself in my life, and my own happiness. And it's been crazy. I think about it now every day. I apply it to every situation, and it's just been a huge game changer. So taking responsibility for your own well-being means no one can make you feel anything. What is it that Eleanor Roosevelt said? No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. That was her that said that, right? It's like that. Like, no one can make you feel anything without your consent. Like, you are responsible for your emotions, for your thoughts, for your well-being. You're responsible for your whole self. Like, I am in charge of myself. And because, follow me here, because everything is perception, right? Everything that we experience in life is coming from our perception of it. Then that means that if I'm in charge of myself fully, then I'm in a way in charge of everything, because everything that I experience is being filtered through my perception. So you can choose how you perceive everything. You can sit with the situation and notice the feelings that are coming up, the thoughts that you're having, and then be like, well, is this how I really want to feel? No. And you can change it. If you take responsibility for your own well-being, think about the pressure that relieves from the people that you're in relationships with. Think about your person, like your husband, your spouse, your partner, whatever, the special person in your life. If you're fully in charge, you fully take responsibility for your own well-being all the time, that takes so much pressure off of them. That reduces arguments like crazy. That reduces pretty much everything negative, right? Now, please know, feel like this is obvious, but I'll say it anyway. This does not mean that they can mistreat you, abuse you, and you just take it. It's more in the energy of I'm no longer looking to another person to fulfill me. I'm no longer looking for another person to make sure that I'm good, that I'm happy. I think I shared this in another episode when I was talking about dating and stuff, but I started viewing after this advice, I started viewing life and relationships and myself as I am going to make myself fully happy. I think 100% is that's nice, but it kind of also feels a little unrealistic. I'm going to make myself 90% fully happy, happy with myself, happy in myself, happy being by myself, which was a massive journey for me. If you're in the collective, we talked about that during the dating yourself theme. That was my big lesson. I was not okay being by myself. I avoided it. I didn't really know myself. And what I did know of myself, I wasn't sure if I liked it. I felt very disconnected from myself and afraid to connect with myself, especially because I was raised in this very religious, oppressive school environment. My whole childhood, my whole life, that was teaching you that you can't trust yourself and to disconnect from yourself and connect with a higher being outside of you. Right. And so it was very scary. But if I'm in charge, if I can make myself 90% happy, then another person coming into my life, dating someone else, being with someone else, getting married again to someone else, whatever the situation is, my kids, my friendships, my relationship with my co-parent, everything else is just overflow. It's just so easy to spill over my happiness because I'm giving myself so much. And At first I like didn't really understand that or didn't really know what that would look like or how that would work. And so I really had to do a lot of work on like what the specifics of that looked like and what it means to really be happy by yourself, to be comfortable in your own skin, to be comfortable being in your own energy and not looking to the relationships, the friendships, the distractions, social media, the people that we follow online to teach me what I need to know and to fulfill me and busy me and distract me and like really just looking within, as cliche as that is, and like understanding myself, knowing myself, liking myself, and then really getting to a place then of like loving myself and like even like entering this phase of self adoration where you just like really love, adore, and honor and respect yourself. Getting yourself to a place where you're in full responsibility of your own well-being is so powerful. It removes the burden from all of your other relationships. It takes away the expectation and you're just good. You're just happy. You take care of yourself. You love yourself. It doesn't feel like a burden. You realize that in the end, all you really have is you. So it is the most important relationship and it's going well. You're respecting yourself. We get so upset when people in our lives don't respect us, don't value us, don't do what we want them to do, don't treat us in the way we think we deserve to be treated. But we are also not treating ourselves like that, right? Everyone is just mirroring what we believe about ourselves. So if you get to that place where you're truly happy and you're satiated and you're grounded and you're calm and you're good and you know that you're in charge, then like I said, if you're in charge of yourself, then that means you're basically in charge of everything because everything that you're experiencing is filtered through your perception and you're in charge of that. It is literally like the most mind-blowing, groundbreaking thing to me. And so, what does it look like to be in charge of your own well being? Like to take responsibility for your own well being. So, it's like, okay, let's say you feel really angry. Emotions are coming up. You feel really angry at something or somebody. Take responsibility for your own well being. That looks like, first of all, I've been talking about this a lot lately, but processing those emotions, not suppressing it, not being in this like la la toxic positivity way of being and like pretending that it's fine or like, well, I'm responsible for myself and my well-being. And I don't want to be like, I don't want to feel angry. So I'm just going to ignore it. It's not that at all. It's letting the anger take its course. To respect somebody is to hold space for all they are. So to respect yourself is to hold space for all you are. And in that moment, you are feeling angry. And that anger has a purpose. Your emotions' purpose is to be felt and processed and to get you to do something, to take a new action. It's signals and support from your emotional self, right? So to respect yourself, to honor yourself, and to be responsible for your own well-being when you are feeling really like rageful anger is to process it and feel it. So giving yourself the space to let it out, whether you need to do scream therapy into a pillow, so therapeutic. Oh my God. 10 out of 10 recommend. Um, whether you need to go for a walk, go for a drive, you need to do some EFT, you need to journal, process, vent it out to somebody that's not involved, whatever it is, like honoring yourself and taking responsibility for your own well-being looks like processing, not suppressing. Then you honored yourself, you honored your emotions, you held space. So much of the time, I think that as children, we wanted somebody to hold space for us. We wanted somebody to be a safe container for our emotions, especially the hard emotions, but we didn't have that. I think a lot of us were raised in a way of just speaking from the conversations I've had with women in the memberships and clients and stuff. I think a lot of us were taught to suppress our emotions and that it wasn't safe to feel or it wasn't acceptable to feel. So we really don't know how to do that for ourselves. And this is called reparenting. We have to reparent ourselves and be the safe container that we always needed when we were growing up. I feel like, I mean, that resonates for me. I'm sure it resonates for some of you as well. So being in a place where you are being that safe person, you're reparenting yourself, you're giving yourself space to process your emotions. And then, okay, I no longer desire to feel angry. So, what thoughts am I thinking about the situation that are contributing to any lingering anger? And thinking through that. I talk about EFT or tapping all the time, but I mean, it's because it works and it's so readily available. It's so easy. It's free. Like you can literally just go on YouTube and type in like EFT for anger, EFT for anxiety, tapping for anger, whatever you want to call it, and find a video that in just several minutes is going to literally shift that energy out of your body. It's incredible. It's so weird and wild to me, but it works. So you can get yourself to a better place, a higher way of being once you've processed and the anger has served its purpose. And I'm using that as an example. It could be any emotion, anything. And then taking responsibility for your own well-being is processing that, shifting it out, and choosing a higher way of being. If you don't want to feel angry anymore, then what do you want to feel? I want to feel at peace. I want to feel at peace with the situation. I want to feel at peace with the parts of it that I can control and at peace with the parts of it that I cannot control. You cannot control another person, but you can control yourself and you can control your thoughts and your response and how much space this takes up in your energy in your life, right? So then you can begin to work on shifting that. Well, I can't control that this person did that. What's done is done. I can control my boundaries about it happening again. I can control my communication to them about what happened. And I can control if I spend time with them moving forward or not, or, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. But do you guys like feel that resonance? Like taking responsibility for your own well-being is so fucking powerful. It literally puts you in charge. And I think so much of our anger, so much of our anxiety, oh my gosh, for me, anxiety for sure resonates, comes from us feeling like we're not in control. It comes from us feeling like people are not going to come through for us. The next shoe is about to drop. It's not going to be okay. Nobody understands. No one's going to help me. It's all me. And it's like you're literally creating anxiety and terror around the very thing that is your power. It's not anyone else's responsibility to make sure you're well. Yes, we can have a healthy relationship. We can have expectations and communicate that in our relationships that like we're going to take care of each other. We're going to be kind to each other. We're going to respect each other, and you can set boundaries and then uphold those. But ultimately, you're responsible for your own well-being. So here's like a personal example of this from the other night. I shared the other night that I was like really up against a wall with something. I just like kept feeling like there was just this like problem that I kept coming up against. And I was just so sick of it. When you get to a point where you're just like, I know that I'm creating this. I'm so sick of my own shit. I'm so sick of this pattern continuing to show up in my life. And at the same time, like I was here with the kids. They were like going ballistic. They were having their own moods, their own feelings. They were like bickering nonstop, like dinner. I burnt dinner. Like everything was just felt like a shit show. It was just one of those moments where it's like, this is just regular daily life. But because I was so mentally and emotionally like stretched thin and not feeling well, that all the little things just felt like way too much and I lost my shit. Like I just was like, you guys can make cereal, do whatever you want. I went in my room, shut the door, and I like sobbed. Like I processed my emotions, I got it all out. And then I had the thought like towards like my man, my person, like he's not here. Of course he's not here. Of course it's all me. I have to do everything. I started to go down this spiral. Like, Brian's traveling right now for work. So it's like Brian's traveling, like he's not here to take the kids and help me. My parents live in another state. My man's busy, he's working, like no one's here. Of like I just this like victim mode. And I started to like spiral and go there. And then it was like, wait. I'm going to take responsibility for my own well-being. It is not anyone else's job to soothe me. Like, yes, they can. If my man was here, he definitely would have, but he wasn't. And it's not his responsibility for my well-being. It's mine. So that's empowering in that moment because I can't change things. I can't control that he wasn't here. I can't control that Brian couldn't come and take the kids or relieve me because he's in literally on the other side of the country. Like I can't control those things. So instead of being disempowered and in victim mode and like perpetuating that energy of like, oh my God, like, look, it's just me, like crying, crying, crying. It's like, well, hold on, I have power here. So I can't control those things, but I can control myself. And you know what I did? Like I cried longer. I let myself process. Like again, we don't want to be in this vibe of like toxic positivity and like suppressing shit. Like it's not about that. But I processed the emotion. I let it all out. I wrote down on a piece of paper like all the stuff I was just tired of, all the stuff that felt really heavy, all this stuff that felt like I just couldn't deal with it anymore. And I saw it on paper and it looked so much smaller. Like when you take something that feels big in here and you put it on paper, it just suddenly looks so much smaller. And then it was like, okay, I can now move through my personal process for getting out of a rut, getting out of emotions and taking responsibility, which, involves like EFT and, processing, journaling, whatever. But that is the message that I want for you guys today is like you are in your power when you take responsibility for your own well-being, when your emotions are in your control, because they always are. When you take charge of your thoughts, when you take charge of the story you're telling in your head about your life, about yourself, about the people that you're doing life with, about the world, about your business, about your weight and your body, about your relationships, about everything. When you take charge of that, you're literally taking charge of everything. It's so powerful. So always take responsibility for your own well-being. That's the message that I have for us today. I love you guys. Make sure you take a screenshot, tag me on social, and tell me what breakthroughs you had with this episode. Love you guys.